All right, welcome back to the podcast. My guest today is Harrison Gottschling. How's it going, man?
It's going good.
Good. Wanted to talk to you about caribou and then some Dall sheep. So first of all, let's start with the caribou. I hunted up there with you in March, and it was cold, -30 the day that we got the caribou. It warmed up to -6 by the end of the day. Obviously, weather's going to be a big difference, but what would be the difference? What could I expect shooting or hunting for caribou in like this time of year, like late summer, early fall versus that winter hunt?
Well, for one, definitely antlers. So that'll be like a nice thing to be kind of picky about for me and our buddy Steve for this tag is that, it's considered to be like one of the best trophy caribou tags in the state. And so we're going to be pretty darn selective on what exactly we're going to be looking after and being real picky on what we're going to shoot. Definitely gear, and having to walk everywhere instead of ripping around on snow machines.
Is this an area that does not allow motorized vehicles or
That's
ATVs?
right.
Things like
Yeah,
that?
it's a non-motorized area. You can get flown in. It's really popular for being guided for moose and sheep and stuff through horse camps. I know that there are two, or at least two, maybe 3 or 4 outfitters that use horses all over this area. So,
Interesting. I've seen a couple episodes of like I don't know if it was shows or YouTube or something like that, but people were using horses up there, and you just don't really expect that. That's kind of your Montana, Wyoming, Colorado type hunt, but it's kind of wild to see that it's used in Alaska, but it makes absolute total sense to use horses up here.
for sure, yeah, this area where we're going is like just the general Wood River area. It's called the Wood River Control Use Area. There are, yeah, the area is super rolling hills down in the valleys and like really big river valleys and stuff. That's just seems to be perfect for horse travel.
Did you mean to mention the name?
Yeah, it's the Wood River. I'm not giving creek names and stuff. It's a
Yeah,
giant area. If I say Wood River, like, have fun.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Units can be funny because if you give away a unit or a certain tag to apply for, then in theory you would have maybe more people apply for it. But um, who knows?
Can't get more people applying for this one than already
That's
are. Really,
yeah, that's what we've talked about previously. But it looks like an awesome area. It definitely looks or the access looks very, very difficult. So when you are looking at one of these, you could go up your 40-mile herd if you wanted to get your caribou and just brave everybody else with the ARs and with the rifles and just making it look like, some of those bison slaughters you see in movies, like a Dances with Wolves type slaughter. That's what it kind of
yeah.
looks like when you look online and some of those Facebook places. When you are doing one of these, are you looking for road access? Are you fly out? You guys are doing a fly out. Was it like kind of a no-brainer for this area, or just kind of you're going to treat yourself? You're going to do it big one time because it might be the only time in your life you get to do it.
For me, definitely the latter part. Our buddy Steve, who I'm hunting with this year, he also do the tag, and this is like his second time drawing this. Like 2%, 1.5% chance to draw a tag in like 5 years. And so I think he went with some other friends of his on that initial go around somewhere off the road. And he said he just couldn't put enough time into it or really, dedicate the efforts that he wanted to on that tag. And so whenever we both drew it, I was like, you want to fly in? And he's like, yeah, okay. And so that kind of dictated that, and just figure it'd be the best for us to be able to cover the most amount of ground, be put in more, remote areas to see animals that aren't pressured as nearly as heavily.
Mm-hmm. So when people think about flats, sometimes they say that you can pretty much go anywhere, but you're really limited by safe landing spots. When you're looking at a spot or scouting a spot, was your spot number one where you're able to be landed, or did you have to choose like 5 or 6 different spots and then you're talking to the person who's going to fly you in and like, no, can't land there, can't land. So are you on option A for a spot, or did you go based on let's go to a spot that you can fly in first, then we'll make our decision that way?
What's interesting about this area is that there's huge gravel bars everywhere, and there's also like really big airstrips too. Like literally, you could land a C-130 on a couple of them. They're so big. Um, and so we really only narrowed down a spot to go hunt, I think, a week ago.
Mm.
And so we had like 5 or 6 different options, and I felt bad because I kept calling Steve. I was like, "What do you think about this? And what about over here?" And oh, I think over here might be good. And he kind of kept the same tone throughout. Like, I think this option is going to be a good one to check out and stuff. And so what's been nice is that the pilot that we use is a really good pilot. He flies a really decent plane like a Cessna 185. So it's a big powerhouse. It can land in small areas. It can also so he can pick you up in cool places, but I think he prefers doing landing strips for sure.
Mm-hmm. Is he a year-round pilot?
Yeah. I think he flies in the spring here, in the summer and fall here in Alaska, and then I think in the wintertime he goes down to
Okay.
some other state.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those people who fly year-round, especially like in Southeast, people come up here and they talk about the bush pilots and how they have such great personality and they're so great. I'm like, yeah, because it's summer. Like during the winter, they're flying some very difficult flights. Like they're taking kids around for basketball games, right? Those are the tough flights. That's what makes the pilots really, really good. And they're sure as heck not joking around before the kids get on the plane when it's January and it's raining sideways or snowing. So, pilot with a lot of Alaska experience is definitely what you want. So you're flying in, but then you are like Are you still hiking up and over a little pass to get down into a different drainage, getting picked up somewhere else?
That it was the original plan. It still might be a possibility, but depending on where we shoot an animal will kind of dictate what the plan becomes really at that point. Because from everything that I've heard is that these bigger bull caribou out here are like the sizes of horses, but with antlers.
Hmm.
And so the idea of hiking one up and over something or having to leapfrog like 2 caribou up and over, some pass into some other area that's another 15 miles downstream from the headwaters of that creek or something. It doesn't look that appealing.
No.
But something to help us in our journeys is what we've decided to do is borrow some pack rafts, like those alpaca stuffs. And once we shoot something, float it back downstream, back to an area where we don't have to hike it nearly as far to get back to an airstrip.
Nice. Excellent. So you both have caribou tags. One of you also have a sheep tag, or is this is a harvest ticket area?
Yeah, it's just a
Or
over-the-counter
registration?
ticket. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just a general harvest ticket.
Nice. So you obviously want the caribou. You're not necessarily trying to get both. Like how close is the habitat? It seems to me, as someone from Southeast
It's one and the
Alaska,
same.
that
Yeah,
caribou would
this
be
one is one
lower
and
on
the
the
same.
mountain.
So that's what's interesting about these caribou is that this is more like a mountainous caribou range. And so I have heard lots of reports of my friends saying, if you go early season, look up where you think the sheep will be and you'll probably see caribou.
Wow.
And I've had friends that say that, they saw something skylined on like a 5,000-foot ridge, looked up and it was just a giant bull caribou hanging out in this huge mountainy, craggy area where there's no green vegetation or anything. But
Weird.
but as the season progresses on, they start dropping down farther and farther into the valleys and stuff. And eventually towards like the end of September is when they start really rutting and getting together and stuff. So since we're going right in the middle, there will still be some velvet on their antlers. Probably most of it will still be on. And what we've heard is like right where it breaks from vegetation to rocks, kind of look in that area and you'll probably find some.
Huh. Is there like an elevation that you look for that's kind of an indicator that it's sheep country? Here in southern Southeast Alaska, 3,000 feet of elevation is kind of where you start looking, and that's kind of where your mountain goat territory starts. So is there like an elevation that you look at for, or maybe it varies by range, but are you thinking Dall sheep is 6,000 feet, is 5,000 feet kind of the Dall sheep range?
Kind of what I've heard is like 4,500 to like 7,000, and that encompasses anywhere, lambs and ewes as well as rams, but rams tend to be up higher.
Hmm. So when you are e-scouting one of these areas, or you're looking at these drainages, you're poring over maps. What are some things that you're looking for, I guess, either like caribou, sheep, or fly-in? Obviously, you're probably going to be flying in lower and then hiking up, or so. So what are some of the terrain things to look forward to that someone like me might not be aware of when you're looking at interior Alaska?
That's a tough one because it's super specific to the area that you're going to go hunt. An area like this where it's a large river that's bounded by mountains on every side, and then some of those mountains are really intense and rugged, and some of them are fairly mellow and have easy passes to go through. Something that we kind of really looked at was what is like an easygoing creek or drainage that you could walk up, and then there's lots of tributaries coming into that creek or drainage where it's like a small little sub valley that's on both either side of the creek, and so you could like walk up the creek a couple miles and then go and look on the north south or south side and try and see, peek up in there, see if there's any animals up in there. And so just a lot of action topographical for that kind of general area is what we were looking for. And then as well for this spot, something where you can maybe go up and over a mountain into another area, or like get up high and then be able to go pretty much anywhere you want in ridge walk. So I mean, for us, this is kind of like checks all the boxes for the things that we think should be good.
Hmm. How often have you been surprised? Like it happens all the time down here. You think, oh, I can probably just go from here to here. It doesn't look too bad, but everything is covered by dense forest. And so what you think it looks like is different than what it actually looks like. And so you show up and it's not deer territory whatsoever, or there's just cliffs, or it's just absolutely miserable. How many times have you been surprised by how reality looks?
Oh, every time, you look at, especially if it's your first time going somewhere, you look at the e-maps, you're like, oh, that's only 10 miles, like from the beginning to the end. Like, no problem, man. We'll knock that shit out in a day. And, you get there and you're like, oh my God, that's so far. I can't even see the end from here, and so it's just one of those things where it's like, you just have to get a heavy dose of reality check and then, just start walking and keep walking and, figure it out.
That's probably another good question. What type of mileage expectations do you have?
Our initial go around, we were expecting to do anywhere from like 20 to 30 miles.
Round trip or in?
Just over 10 days, just total,
Okay.
probably.
Okay.
It'll probably, and since then we've kind of cut our trip down, like maybe in half, but I almost still suspect that we'll probably be doing something close to that mileage.
Yeah. When you were first telling me about where you were going and the up and over the pass thing, that thing looked epic, and it was a lot of miles, but hard miles. It wasn't like 120 or something like that. Your sheep hunt was around 60. Is that right?
Yeah, right around like 59 or something. I just round up. Sounds good though.
Yeah. But that was, you got up to an area and you'd glassed and made a move, and then someone else had shot it. So you had to do a lot of back and forths and redirecting, and then hiking out. You're not anticipating as much traffic back here, are you?
No, actually we are. This area where we're going is regarded as one of the busier spots
Yeah.
for this whole area. But it's really busy for sheep.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, people, since a lot of people go in there for sheep every year, you know, not many people, like maybe a tenth or less, people will be going in just for caribou. So I think the odds will be in our favor for just caribou.
Nice.
But for sheep, we're still rolling off of last year's big winter die off. So, we're going to be caribou hunting first. And then if we see a sheep, awesome. If we don't, we'll still have either 2 caribou dead or still have the chance to shoot 2 caribou. So,
Mhm.
and then after the 1st of September, we can shoot grizzly bears, and moose too. So
Nice. It could be a big one.
yeah,
That'd also be nice that you're not going up and over the pass because you can float a lot more meat down. So that's
yeah,
good.
we still think we're going to go up and to the top of that pass, but then just kind of stay up high from there, and go to the north and south and poke around and see and look in this creek and look in that creek, and so.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
Once we get up high, it should be nice. We should be able to drop a lot of our weight and just kind of cruise the ridgelines all day type of thing and go back. So, 10 days will go by pretty quick, but also when you're walking for 10 days straight, it also takes forever. So I feel like we'll have a good amount of time out there.
What do you think would be the minimum requirement? Not that any of this stuff is easy, but maybe someone doesn't have 10 days of vacation or anything like that, or there's a day travel day on each end. Can you do one of these like caribou? Like if you were to draw this tag, could I caribou this in 5 days? Could I harvest ticket sheep up there in 5 days, or am I really just putting myself up against it?
Like, especially as a non-resident, I think in order to even have like a hope of doing that, you'd have to be guided.
Yeah.
And like work with the guide to tell them your day limits and stuff, and they probably just tell you wait until you can come for longer. Because it's I think that the territory is so big, and whether or not you're walking or you have horses or whatever, it's just going to take a while for you to find animals or someone to find animals for you, or you to find the right one, or whatever that may be. I think it's possible, but it's really hard.
Yeah, I think if you're paying 15 grand or whatever it is to get a doll sheep, or is it more? How much is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you're paying $25,000 to come to Alaska to hunt a doll sheep, I would assume that you'd be take as much time as you needed to, and you don't want to shortchange that. But you don't need a guide
absolutely.
for caribou. Is there? I don't think there's a tag anywhere in Alaska that you need a guide for caribou, right?
No, you don't need a guide for caribou at all.
Yeah.
I know that there's lots of transporters and stuff who sell guided caribou hunts where they'll pretty much like take you somewhere up on a river in the Brooks Range and drop you off, and then you're on your own from there, and then they come pick you up, or they'll give you a good sense of direction to be like, go over there type deal. So
do you consider that DIY? Because I always see someone post something about their Alaska DIY, and it was a fly out, or the first thing they did, we flew out with this company to here, but they undoubtedly gave you information. Some of the rental boats down here, like it's DIY because you just rent the rental boat, but you have GPS coordinates that are programmed into to the Garmin in there, and so all you got to do is just follow to the GPS coordinate. Yeah, you're doing the driving yourself and the fishing yourself, but you were told exactly where to go. Do you consider that DIY, or does it really matter?
I honestly don't think it matters. You could get real elitist about it and be like, because eventually if you hear about a place that you want to check out, did you really figure it out at that point? you could either figure it all out on your own and be truly DIY. And, what are you going to do? Make your own boots? You're going
It's
to
true.
craft your own rifle. At that point, you could get so granular that super elitist that like only true elite hunting cobblers can go here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. If you start to define too much of that stuff, you end up kind of losing some of the point, just being caught up in some of the wrong
for sure,
details. But it is
as
funny
long
to
as you're
see.
getting out there and,
Yeah.
camping and shit, that's what it's all about. Just
Yeah.
being out there.
I think when some people try to use it as a mark of bravado or something like that, to where they try to make themselves sound cooler than they are, they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, some people are really excited about it, but whatever. You got out, you still did it. That doesn't change based on whether or not someone was there or not. But
No, I mean, I've seen some of your previous guests from our galley, that Brad guy.
Mhm.
I've seen some of his YouTube videos of them doing, like transported caribou hunts, and they definitely look like they're doing it the hard way.
yeah. That's that's. There are some people who just get after it, and that's fun to watch. And some of the content that they make, the YouTube stuff, it's pretty fun. You do get like the benefit. They had really good weather when they were on Kodiak. But yeah, it's fun to see people just really make it work, and yeah, it makes you want to do it. It makes you motivated to do more stuff, and that's why I'm pretty stoked. That caribou trip up there in March has really got me thinking about a lot of different opportunities up there on the road system, because you can go anywhere. You guys are headed south out of Fairbanks. How do opportunities differ as you head north toward the Brooks? Because it's the last gas headed north until you get all the way up there is like Wiseman or something like that, and is that 6 hours from Fairbanks?
Oh no, I mean, there's like Fox. Fox is right above Fairbanks, or just on the north side of Fairbanks, really. So there's gas there. You can get gas in Coldfoot, and then Wiseman, and then I think you gotta take the stretch to Prudhoe Bay from there.
Okay, so if you were gonna hunt or if I was gonna go up there to do the Hall Road archery, Wiseman would be the last gas.
Yeah, I have some friends who do that hunt quite often, and they just bring, like 20 gallons and 5-gallon jugs of gas just to be able to go, back and forth, turn around, go over here, look over here, turn around, go there, and that kind of thing, and not be worried about running out of gas in the middle of nowhere, pretty much.
Yeah. Do you have a preference when you hunt north or south, or is it if I'm hunting caribou, I'm headed south? If I'm hunting sheep, I'm heading north, or does it really matter? Is it just individual opportunity?
Personally, I've never hunted in the Brooks Range or anywhere north of Fairbanks besides, off the Stees Highway area for the 40-mile herd. So that'd be one thing I'd really like to check out one year, is going up north, but just hasn't been in the cards yet. There's just so much opportunity for whatever you want to hunt all over the state that I think you just have to kind of pick one thing that you want to do for that year, or one kind of hunt you want to do this season, and then another hunt that season. Really just pick it out, and you could visit a different place every year and never cover the same ground twice.
Yeah.
But there are some places like where we went bear hunting last year that the same party went bear hunting in the same spot this spring, and it's an awesome place. You get to have a big drop camp and stuff, and go back to a nice wood stove every night and shit. So I mean, that kind of thing sounds awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to do that once, to do the Cabela's wall tent thing, and that would be kind of cool. But then you start looking at some of the costs of some of those things, and it's just it's not going to happen. I like to do that in like a Montana, right? You just get the old time, you got the horses, and then wall tent, and a cook and everything. But then it's I don't know if I would actually like that. I like the idea of it being warm and dry and everything, and then have someone cook me food. But then the amount of other adventures I could have for the price I'd be paying for that, that's not going to happen.
Exactly. And especially with the family and everything, you're like, well, I could take the whole family here for that price. Like,
Yeah. So you and I were talking about like just throwing things out there, a potential moose float.
oh yeah.
and that looks. I mean, all moose floats. That just seems to be the program. Like you float some sort of river for moose. Do you know a lot of people who just get flown in and just hunt that area, or is it primarily getting on a river and floating it?
So, I mean, it's all different too. There's all kinds of, you could call them landlocked moose if that's the way you want to put it or whatever. But I mean, there are plenty of people who just whack and stack moose off the side of the road, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
The floating thing seems to be like a really cool one where, you're just being real quiet, floating down the river, and you just round this big bend, and then there's a big ass moose, and, you take him or whatever. But for fly out moose hunts, I think that happens quite a bit over in the western side of Alaska, over by Nome and Bethel. And I mean, I'm sure it happens everywhere too, but that hasn't been something that's ever really interested me because, if you get flown into somewhere and you shoot a moose, God forbid you're more than a mile or two away from the airstrip or where you can get picked up from, because it's just going to be awful. Versus like if you're floating somewhere, you shoot something on the side of the river and it runs like 100 yards into the woods or something before it dies. You just have to hump it back to the boat and then float it.
Yeah. The floats create interesting logistical issues because you either have to fly in somewhere, then float down, or you have to figure out what vehicle is going to be at what location or how you're going to get to the vehicles. That makes it interesting, challenging, but something that, that's just so much more appealing, I think, to be on the river. But at the same time, like the dream of coming around this lazy bend and seeing one right there on a gravel bar. Like, does that happen a whole lot? Because it doesn't seem like
I think it does.
There's for some people, right? If you're floating 50 miles or something like that, you'd expect to just be on edge, or I would. It's every corner, and I'd need to like calm down. But if you do find an area that looks kind of moosey, then you got to go out and hike around a little bit. But it looks like that stuff's kind of thick and swampy in spots. So do you kind of know what to look for when you're on a float and looking for
I would
moose?
think that looking for moose, that, if you have like a general area that you've heard about, or someone has like said that this is a real good moose area, that they're not really densely populated animals.
Mm-hmm.
And so really kind of what the game is to be able just to cover more ground, not necessarily looking for them on the bank, just free gimmies. But I think if you were to just float a river looking for a moose on the side of a bank of a river, I think you'd be looking at it all wrong. Generally, what people do is, this is from what I've heard, I've never done it. So, but you get somewhere and then you find like a high spot, and then you hike up to the high spot, and then you can glass and you just call for hours. And then, you move on to the next spot and do the same thing, rinse, repeat. Calling is a really big thing for moose. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest tactic, is being able to cover ground and, hit those mornings and late evenings to just call and call and call.
It's funny you mentioned about knowing things about things that you don't do. There's that intellectual knowledge. Like talking to you, I've learned a lot of stuff about sheep, listening to Tyler Friel's podcast, a lot of stuff about sheep and caribou and all that stuff. So I've never done it outside of the hunt that we did together. But you just absorb knowledge, and it's cool to figure that stuff out and then have, I wouldn't say working knowledge, but at least some sort of idea if you did want to end up doing it at some point. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think that the more that I've kind of gotten into hunting over the past 7 or 8 years is just kind of like trying to talk to a bunch of people about like how they do it and what they do and what they know and that kind of stuff. And, just kind of like compile tidbits of information here about this spot, and then write that down in your little atlas book in your bedroom that no one looks at. And, then like, oh, look at this spot over here. And, call around to get prices and look at forums and stuff and try and figure out other places and get information. And so if you ever want to do it, or someone asks you a question about it, you can maybe point them in the right direction or plan a trip together or something.
Yeah. Do you think those forums give good information, Or do you have people on there who are just giving you a whole bunch of crap or stuff that's very specific to a certain region? And so you're trying to apply like down south logic for black-tailed deer or mountain goat, but then you go to Kodiak and it's totally different. Do you think Facebook forums and groups and Rock Slide or places like that are like great sources, good sources, okay sources? What do you think?
Generally, I think, they all serve a purpose. They can kind of give you a little bit of information. Some people are, they'll never like post a comment on it, but they'll send you like a private message.
Mm.
And then, then you can start a conversation about it from there. And then he's like, oh, if you buy me a case of beer, I'll tell you what I know, type of deal. And
Nice.
I've had it happen more than once. But generally just trying to like search a topic in Google and then having it pop up on forums, like reading through forums like that. I feel like you may be able to get like one tidbit of information, but mostly it's a lot of people just being like, kind of a dumbass do you think you are? Like, you're going to come here and I'm going to tell you everything. And no, it's not going to happen like that. So
We're all hunting comrades, right? We're all friends. Let's just share information.
yeah, that's it. Exactly. And then, there's a lot of people that are just like, get out and work for it, go figure it out. And, and so it's,
Which some of those people, I'm surprised that they're on there because what are you doing on there? What are you reading? If you're
sad
anti-sharing
and lonely
information,
and
yeah,
angry.
Too. There's that authenticity as well. So I think I would probably trust a local who hasn't done the hunt, who has friends who have, over someone who came up and did it once and wrote about it. Because you did it once and everything existed or everything worked out within that specific context, but the weather may have been different. It may have been a different year. Like things could totally have changed. And I think a resident or a local is going to have a better idea of what it's like. I went up to did the caribou once. Like I really don't know much about it yet. I've experienced it once. It was successful. It was awesome. It was fun. But I was highly dependent upon you and you making decisions. So anything that I recommend to someone else, there's going to be some good tidbits of information. But just someone who lives in Fairbanks and hasn't necessarily hunted that would probably have a better idea. Like a hunter, of course, not someone who just hangs out at Starbucks or whatever.
yeah,
got-
sure. I mean, I agree to that to a point, but also, that doesn't mean that I was like holding your hand and you were literally blindfolded. Like, you had to experience what it was. So if someone asked you about it, you could put in your 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
It does, and it, may not be necessarily as well informed as someone who does it or has done it, but it doesn't mean that they're valid or their experience is not worth to listen to or whatever, or their information or their advice not worth just at least listening to. Whether or not you heed it is totally different.
I think one of the key things about that one specifically is the quota. So if someone just thinks, well, I talked to Jeff Lund and he went up there in March, I'm going to book a ticket to March. Well, that quota might not necessarily exist as it does. And if it gets filled in February, then you've planned based on my trip when there's definitely a bigger scope that you have to look at and get some more information, more details to make sure that you don't corner yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That hunt changes every single year. And, there's like 4 different zones that you can hunt in for that specific hunt. And they have quotas per zone. So there may be like a 5,000 animal total, but, only like 2,000 in zone 1 and, then the 3,000 split over the next 3 zones. And so, you may be like, oh, I'm going to go up here at this time for this area. And all of a sudden that quota is filled for that zone. So you're kind of hosed. And yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. We kept watching the quota. You sent me updates just to make sure that it was going to be able to work, and they would have had to really start picking off caribou at a very quick rate in order to fill the quota before I was planning to go up there. So that was really nice to make that happen.
Yeah, I think in order to do that, they would have had to get helicopters out there in the wintertime.
Yeah, that would have been messed up. But yeah, that was such an awesome experience, man. I can't thank you enough for taking me out on that one. That was great.
Of course, it's fun. It's fun being out there in the winter.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different sort of fun. It's a lot more fragile type fun. When we were headed back, we were racing the sun, and I thought, man, this is crazy, because I was starting to sweat a little bit because of all the moving around and packing and trying to hike up the side of the mountain there. And it was a good thing that we got back to the truck. And it was weird in the truck having the bottom of my pants start to kind of freeze. I had pants on, or I had base layer, and then pants, and then puffy pants, and then the bibs. So like I had layers and layers, and like the outer part of the refrigerator bibs I had were starting to freeze a little bit, which is just such a bizarre, different experience, but it makes it sweet.
Yeah.
So what's your pack looking like? What are some indispensable items that you like to take? I know that you like to get printed maps, so you have that, and you cut out the extra edges just so there's not a lot of extra just nonsense there. Meal wise, what do you go with? Are you have one large Ziploc bag for each day of food? Do you go jet boil and then dehydrated meals? What are you looking at?
Yeah, just since we are going to be backpacking the whole time, we are going to go pretty light and everything. So yeah, I am going to individualize my day's worth of meals and just get some snacks in there with, a robust oatmeal in the morning that I've kind of been working on a recipe for a couple weeks now, trying to figure out the exact right concoction of dried berries and all kinds of stuff. And, but for the dinners, we're going to split a Mountain House and a pack of those instant mashed potatoes.
Okay.
And then from there, just the snacks to keep me going is, like meat and cheese, some sugary stuff, some bars and whatever. And I don't like any of those gels or none of that stuff. But I found out that, the more stuff that's like peanut butter flavored that I take, the more angry I get. So I'm trying to slow down on that.
Yeah. You are a big fan of those mashed potatoes. What brand do you get, or what do you got on that?
Those little Idahoan single serve potatoes. I think it makes like 2 cups or something per bag.
Little 4-ounce pouch thing of
Yeah.
buttery home style mashed potatoes.
Oh baby.
There you go. You just add water and then probably dense. We got calorie wise and whatnot on that. Let's see, 4 servings per container, 110 calories per serving. Okay. All right.
I don't know. Just always growing up, my uncle would always be like, if you don't have instant mashed potatoes, like have them fucking flown into you, because I'm not going to enjoy this time if I'm out here with no potatoes.
Yeah.
And so my uncle, I think he survived on instant potatoes and whiskey. So that was always my hunting experience and fishing experience as a kid.
Yeah, it's crazy how much that paints everything you do, and some of that stuff ends up being just prime knowledge. When you're younger, you think, man, this crazy old guy, what is he doing? But then you think, oh, I kind of get this now. I see this. This was prime knowledge that I didn't necessarily appreciate at the time.
What, the potatoes or the whiskey?
I was speaking to potatoes, but yeah, I think there is something to having a food or something that can connect you and kind of get your head right. Do you have like a food or something, a snack or something that can kind of get you back into the zone? Obviously, it's not peanut butter. Were you eating peanut butter after you glassed up that Dall sheep and then someone else went over there?
No, I was eating beef jerky, to be specific.
Oh, man.
However, something that I really have enjoyed just taking my pack that weighs it down more is just more coffee and more hot drink mixes, like cocos and teas for the evening. Like that stuff is such like a mood elevator, and like just will get you ready for bed or get you ready in the morning, or warm you up if you're up glassing, and even if you're all bundled up and everything. And it's really nice to have. And then something that I for food wise is bringing like actual food, and while it may be heavy, like just meat sticks or jerky or even smoked salmon, stuff like that, it's really good to have real food instead of power bars and whatever, or dehydrated Mountain House, where it's just doesn't ever really sit right. So
yeah. If Abby and I went on a couple backpacking trips in Wyoming, and it's different because you're not hunting, you're on a nice trail and you're backpacking up to go fishing, but after 20 or so miles over a day or two, like an apple with cheese and crackers is so unbelievable because it is real. But then you curse that apple because it weighs so heavy in your pack, but it can maybe get you a day or two in if you still have the apple. Or I'm a big fan of cheese, pepperoni and crackers, because there's
Yeah.
some assembly required. It kind of takes your mind off stuff, and you can manipulate the bites to get a little bit more cheesy or something like that. So the individual mozzarella cheeses are something that I often take just because they last longer, and it's just so good.
They are good. Yeah. And I think your body definitely, when you're hiking a lot, I think your body definitely needs real food versus calorically dense, you know, laboratory made power bar type shit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. A buddy of mine had never had a mountain house before. He grew up in Alaska. It was funny. We just all always went fishing, and he never really did much hunting. When lived in Montana, he did some hunting, but it was just kind of like on his property. They're deer around, so you shoot a mule deer, shoot a whitetail, whatever. So we went up on an alpine trip, and he never had a mountain house before. I thought, man, how'd you never have a mountain house? But yeah, whenever he went camping, he had real stuff, real food because it's just a day or two. So he had like the chicken fajita or something like that. He said, "This is so good. I would eat this at home." I'm like, "No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
no,
You're
you
just
would
happy
not.
because you're on a mountain right now and it tastes really good and it's warm." And they did a pretty good job because they're getting way better than they were at this. But you do not want to come home after a long day at work and boil some water for a mountain house. You want to keep this idea that you have this nice trump card if you ever are up on a mountain again. You don't want to ruin that by having it at home.
No, it's like prison food at that point.
Yeah. So what else you got? What else can you tell me about this hunt, man? I'm stoked for you guys.
Just I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning today just because I was having like super vivid dreams about being out in the mountains and rolling hills and stuff that I'm excited.
Nice.
I was kind of battling it with anxiety over the past week or so of prepping everything and making sure that I have everything and going and buying new gear in some respects or whatever, and just trying to get everything dialed. I'm supposed to go over to Steve's house today to meet with him to get some gear that I'm going to put in my pack just so that it's packed away and everything and stuff. So it should be a good time.
I had a dream, I think it was 2 nights ago, because we were camping on this beach. It was a beautiful beach. Well, not like a really big, beautiful beach, but it really worked. And that's sometimes you find something that works, it ends up being beautiful. But I had a little fire and cooked some crab in a crab cooker and some shish kebabs. And then as the tide was coming in and I'm trying to sleep, I heard seals that were kind of swimming around. And they were making like a breathing noise, which I instantly, in my mostly sleeping state, thought it was a bear. When a dog swims in water, sometimes there's that and it just sounds like something breathing as it's making its way across the water. And so I went into this vivid dream about it being a bear and it going to the tent, and then I just beat it to death.
It's one hell of a dream. Hell yeah.
I know, but I'm usually not like a hero. Usually I like whimper or I like poke at it through the tent. I've had 2 bear dreams this summer, which is kind of weird. I usually don't have bear dreams. I was poking at it through the tent and it bit my hand off. Like that was a previous dream. But in this one, I was able to beat the bear to death, which was just crazy.
Well, now that you're a big bear killer.
I guess. I don't know, man. But
Hell yeah, dude, you killed a brown bear.
That was something else. I'm having anxiety over something that I know wasn't going to happen. We only have black bear in this area, and then I don't know, but yeah. So when you guys leave?
Friday.
Friday. Dang. Getting there. That's gonna be awesome.
Only a few short days away, so I'm super excited about it. That I can, my wife's mom is coming up the night that I'm leaving and everything, so I don't have to worry about my wife taking over the responsibility of the kids just by herself and everything. So it's like I can really dedicate all my thoughts to this, and so I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Is she pretty excited that you go on these things, or you're wild enough to go out and do that stuff? Or
she's tolerant. She's definitely a good partner and saying, and working with me to do the things that I really want to do. And I think that's all just part of a healthy relationship, is seeing what they want to do, and sometimes prioritizing the other person.
Yeah.
And she's definitely a really good partner for that.
Yeah. I think you start to get, I've been married 2 months, so I'm an expert on marriage therapy and whatnot. But just that you don't want to end up having people resent you for certain things. And so allowing people to do the stuff that they want, I think is cool, but not at the expense of everything else. So like responsibility and whatnot. And some of the friends that I have that have good hunts and go off on that, they understand that it's give and take. You have to. It's just it's a dynamic that you have to know going in and be thoughtful in the decisions that you make. But it's cool to have someone who's supportive and
For
or
sure.
tolerant or whatever it is. But,
Yeah, because there have definitely been a lot of times where it's like, can I go on this? I got invited to this trip. Can I go? And it's like, no. It's like, okay, that's
yeah.
fine. But for the next one, I'm definitely going to the next one.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So
Abby and I were talking about next year, and I said, well, do you want to go to Doll Sheep? What do you want to do for the big hunt? She said, well, I'm not sure I'm going to have the same amount of vacation days. I can't just take August off. I thought, oh. She said, well, you can go. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so great. Wow.
can you sign here on the dotted line, please? You said this at this time.
No, I think she'll be sad because she wants to go on it herself, but
I
not by
mean,
herself. But
is she moved up here yet, or when did she become a
oh,
resident?
she became a resident 2 days ago.
Did she
Well,
really?
actually, no. She got the license. She has to wait 1 day. So if she were to go deer hunting, it would cost $450, 150 for the license, and then or 160 for the license, I think, and then 300 for the tag. So she started her clock. So in 1 year, then she'll be the official resident. So
Well,
that's
hey, I
that's
mean
pretty
that's
sweet.
that's still right in the middle of hunting season, so she won't miss out.
Yeah, still be in good shape. But yeah, I'm looking at Doll Sheep next year. I got some buddies that want to come up for blacktail, but we'll kind of see what happens. There's always ideas when you start to look at the next year, 9 months out, 10 months out. It can look more intact 10 months out than it does like 5 months out because everyone's got ideas. And when it comes to actually making them happen, sometimes they don't necessarily work out. But
I'm the opposite way. Everything it only really gets focused in about a week before my trips. Usually it's there's always like 4 or 5 different areas or places or different styles of hunt that you can hunt in the 40 days of hunting season. So
yeah. Well, I had it fully planned. I was based on the sheep that we were talking about a couple days ago. I had marked some spot. I was e-scout, and I was sure that I'm going to make this happen. And then now it's like, well, I think I'm going to go up there for sheep. I want to go up there for sheep, but there's a lot of stuff that we got to look at some maps, and I've kind of e-scouted some routes to go up some of these spots that you told me about, and that I researched, and I don't know, just such a different scale and trying to get an idea of how steep this is and whether or not this is really doable is that's a whole nother story.
how long do you think you're going to be able to plan for it?
I don't know. I don't know. I would like to be able to give it a good shot, but I also like to have someone that can go to kind of show me the ropes. Um, I don't like to go to territory alone for the first time. Like if I know a spot, I'll go back to it on a solo mission. But certainly something like sheep, I'm not in a solo sheep. Just throw excitement and enthusiasm at it. So I definitely want someone to go that has been up in that area, or someone who's been in a relatively similar area, but a Brooks Range or a Alaska Range sheep would be a totally new thing, so I wouldn't feel comfortable going solo on that.
Totally. Yeah. And, there are plenty of people who go out and do solo type deal, and especially for sheep and stuff like that. But I don't think that I'm in that kind of mindset to do that.
Yeah.
Personally.
So what else you got, man? Either about your hunt or anything else coming up after that, or is your radar too caught up with next Friday that you can't even think about anything further?
It's definitely too caught up in this hunt to really focus on anything else. I'm just super excited to get out and go and, just see new country, fly in somewhere again. Really just get out there and try and erase my memories of last fall.
Mm. And then get away from the chickens. You have 42 chickens.
Son of a bitch. I have 42 chickens.
How does
Yes, I do.
did you buy 42 chickens or does that happen?
No, I did not buy. I think I think this year, I think I maybe bought 18 or so. And then over the course of the summer, some were gifted to us, others people were giving them away, so we went and got them. And then last week, I come home from work and my wife was on the porch with the kids, and she's like, "Hurry up, get out of the truck now! Come on, come over here." So I'm like worried, like what the hell's wrong? What's burned down? And we run back in the backyard, and we have a little chicken with 13 little baby chicks that are like a day old. So it's like, okay, cool. Now we got to deal with this right before winter. So
How are you going to deal with that?
I'd like to rehome them because it takes about 6 weeks for them to get enough plumage to really stay warm. And so in 6 weeks is like the beginning of the first week of October. And so it's going to be getting pretty cold for them and stuff. And so, I don't want them to suffer, but I also don't want to spend a bunch of money on heating them in the late fall when they don't have to be heated and stuff. So it's just a balance to try and find someone maybe to take them or not. I got to do some more work to my chicken coop. It's like a 8x10. Got to re-insulate part of it because the damn things ate part of the insulation and stuff. So
Perfect. That's what you want out of your chickens.
Yeah. I know. I always wondered, like, they eat the insulation. What's it do to the eggs that I eat?
Ooh, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but it's fun.
Good. Cool, man. Well, thanks for being on here again. Appreciate it. Good luck on the hunt. I'm sure I'll be talking to you in the next couple of days leading up to it, and then we'll have to do a recap when you get back. Hopefully, it's a good one.
Absolutely, it'll be good no matter what.
Absolutely, awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Later.